This is a stimulus update and daily news report. Got some big breaking news to share with you in this video. So Nancy Pelosi and the House of Representatives are back in Congress, and they were up until midnight as of this morning, Tuesday, talking about the $3.5 trillion stimulus package, trying to have a vote. They might have it actually today. I'll let you know the latest of what's going on with the negotiations and the stimulus package. President Biden asked the Supreme Court to let the CDC eviction moratorium stay in place. The FDA has officially approved the Pfizer vaccine. We'll talk about the $2,000 stimulus checks that are going out to select Americans, and then I'll answer the questions you leave for me in the comments. Hope you're having a terrific Tuesday. If you appreciate these fact-based, fast-paced updates, hit the like button down below. So the big breaking news here is that the FDA grants full approval to Pfizer-BioNTech's COVID shot, clearing path to more vaccine mandates. So they just approved this yesterday. The FDA just approved it yesterday. And up until this point, it was only for emergency use authorization. Now that the vaccine is officially approved by the FDA, looks like a lot of businesses and companies and government can have vaccine mandates. That's where President Biden urges businesses to mandate COVID-19 vaccine following full approval of Pfizer-BioNTech shot. So what President Biden said is, today I'm calling on more companies in private sector to step up the requirements that will reach millions of more people. If you're a business leader, a nonprofit leader, a state, a local leader who has been waiting for full FDA approval to require vaccinations, I call on you now to do that. Do what I did last month, requiring employees to get vaccinated or face strict requirements. Let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments below. With the vaccine requirements, with the FDA approval, do you think this is a good thing, a bad thing? Let me know your thoughts on that. In terms of the latest vaccine mandates, New York City mandates vaccinations for public school teachers and staff. So now that is required for all teachers. Let me know your thoughts on all this. This is big news right here. Next, let's talk about what's going on with the House of Representatives finally back in Congress as of yesterday, Monday, August 23rd. So House Democrats return to advance Biden's agenda in face of crisis. So here's a quick video clip explaining everything that has happened up until this point, and then I'll give you the latest of what happened as of last night with Nancy Pelosi and the arguments and the negotiating. So watch this first.
Meantime, in D.C., the House of Representatives comes back to work today. They've got their work cut out for them. Lawmakers are back from recess early, facing a very different landscape than when they left at the start of the month. Democratic leaders are eager to lock up votes for Biden's economic package and then pass it in tandem with the infrastructure bill. The major roadblock? 9 moderates who say they will not act on reconciliation unless they see infrastructure pass first. Joining me now from Capitol Hill, NBC News national political reporter Sahil Kapoor. So walk us through the work Congress needs to do and just how big a roadblock these 9 pose.
Yeah, a big week coming up here on Capitol Hill for President Biden's legislative agenda. The House returning early and planning a series of votes today and tomorrow to move that $3.5 trillion package that is a centerpiece of President Biden's agenda. That's the safety net expansion and tax hikes on upper earners. Now, as you mentioned, Speaker Pelosi is facing a rebellion from a group of moderate House Democrats who say they don't want to begin work on that $3.5 trillion reconciliation package until the Senate-passed infrastructure bill is done, passed in the House, and signed into law by President Biden. They have a new op-ed today in the Washington Post digging in on this position, 9 of them saying that they oppose holding that infrastructure bill hostage, their word to the reconciliation bill. Now, Speaker Pelosi has said for months that these bills have to move in tandem because the votes aren't there to pass one without the other. To that end, a coalition of progressive groups has a new ad campaign out today targeting these 9 moderate Democrats, led by Congressman Josh Gottheimer of New Jersey, accusing them of obstructing President Biden and his agenda. Of course, here, this is a high-stakes standoff between the progressive and moderate wings of the Democratic Party with huge consequences for President Biden's agenda. Democrats hope to run on the infrastructure bill and this reconciliation bill, which would include major investments in health care and child care, mitigating climate change, raising taxes on upper earners and corporations to get it done. They want to run on this in the 2022 midterm elections to tell voters, please keep us in power for another 2 years. But of course, course, they have to pass it first, and Speaker Pelosi is probably going to have to pull a rabbit out of the hat to get all members of the House except 3 Democrats, which is her margin for error.
So that's what we know as of now, and it was a battle last night in Congress with Nancy Pelosi among her own Democrats and some other Republican House representatives. So mutually assured destruction. Pelosi and centrists drag budget standoff into wee hours. So Speaker proposed a deal to Representative Josh Gottheimer, hoping to end the centrist rebellion over the budget resolution. So there's been a battle, a standoff, a showdown between Nancy Pelosi and her own Democrats. This is the latest of what happened. So Speaker Nancy Pelosi sent House members home after midnight Tuesday, which is today, following a stalemate over Democrats' $3.5 trillion budget framework that fell short of an agreement after hours of negotiation with Representative Josh Gottheimer and other centrist holdouts. Pelosi and Gottheimer, who is a Democrat, by the way, the de facto leader of the moderate opposition to Pelosi's strategy, had been edging toward a deal that would commit to House passage of bipartisan Senate-passed infrastructure bill by October 1st. But at least 5 centrists and Gottheimer's group still resisted the plan by early Tuesday morning, leaving Pelosi to gauge her team's appetite for a potential floor fight on President Joe Biden's domestic agenda. So they are going to resume these negotiations today, Tuesday at 9 a.m., and they're supposed to have a vote. Well, they were supposed to have it yesterday. Might have it today, but if you've been paying attention to these videos over the last few months, they say they're going to have a vote today, but then it happens next Wednesday. That's just how it goes in Congress, but I'll keep you updated on that. Even though if they pass all of these all of these negotiations and they finally come to something, it may be in vain because Kyrsten Sinema in the Senate dashes House Dems' hopes for $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill. So Kyrsten Sinema is a Democrat, and in order for this $3.5 trillion stimulus package to pass, they need every single Democrat to be on board. So, what Kyrsten Sinema said is, proceedings in the U.S. House will have no impact on Kyrsten's views about what is best for our country, including the fact that she will not support a budget reconciliation bill that costs $3.5 trillion, a Sinema spokesperson said. So looks like regardless of what they come up with, what they vote on in the House, Kyrsten Sinema in the Senate is not for $3.5 trillion, saying it is too much. And not just Kyrsten Sinema, but the people who we thought were going to cause the most problems are potentially. So Joe Manchin warns House Democrats over bipartisan infrastructure bill delay. So what Joe Manchin said is the House should put politics aside and do the same. With so much uncertainty in the world today, one thing is certain: we must unite and pass a critical priority for the American people, improving our nation's infrastructure. It would send a terrible message to the American people if this bipartisan bill is held hostage. I urge my colleagues in the House to move swiftly to get this once in a generation legislation to the president's desk for his signature. Basically saying you guys need to move ahead and get this done, which I think is what America has been wanting for months. It's been way too many months of dragging this thing out. Here is a video clip from Kevin McCarthy, who is the Republican House leader, criticizing the bill and the process of the Democrats.
But let me come back to this monstrosity of a bill. I mean, here we have basically a booming economy. We also have a booming inflation rate. And
yes,
we have rising jobs. But does anyone believe $6 trillion in spending is going to hold inflation down, besides President Biden, who believes that? And does anybody believe that whatever several $1 trillion of tax hikes on individuals, capital gains, companies, large and small business, foreign firms, we're going to tax our way into prosperity? I mean, I don't understand what the marketing logic is going to be from the Democrats, except, you know, my way or the highway.
nobody believes this. Even Democrat economist Larry Summers fears of what they're going to go forward. Remember, why are we having this growth today? The tax cuts that we passed with your help, the deregulation, all within that Trump administration. That's what we're living off of. What they propose to do will bring back inflation even in a greater manner based upon the trillions that they already passed. But remember the damage of what has to happen to try to stop that inflation. President Biden talks about bringing America back. Nobody wanted him to bring them back to the 1970s, to inflation, to begging OPEC to produce more oil, to have hostages in the Middle East. But that is essential what he is doing right now. America would be stronger today is when he took office if he literally did nothing. His actions and his decisions had put us in greater jeopardy.
So there should be a lot of news that comes out over the next few days, a lot of big changes, hopefully some votes happen. I'll let you know what's going to happen. I'll keep you updated. Next, President Biden asks Supreme Court to leave eviction moratorium intact. So the Biden administration on yesterday, asked the Supreme Court to leave intact an eviction freeze put in place amid the increased spread of highly contagious Delta variant of the coronavirus. So this went to the appeals court and they said that it will stay in place. But according to this, the CDC has the statutory authority to halt evictions to prevent the spread of communicable disease. So that is the main reason why the CDC is able to prevent evictions from happening at this point. The Supreme Court addressed an earlier version of the moratorium in June, with justice voting 5-4 to reject a bid by a group of landlords to effectively end the policy, which is pretty close. So it looks like the eviction moratorium is going to be in place as of now. President Biden is urging that nothing change. Next, let's talk about how the Choctaw Nation is giving its members $2,000 apiece in universal basic income from stimulus funds. Other tribes are trying similar things. A handful of Native American tribes are using federal pandemic aid for new rounds of stimulus. The Choctaw Nation announced last week it would pay $2,000 to adult members over the next 2 years. The payments to extend the universal basic income experiment that began with the first relief checks in early 2020. So basically, they're using stimulus funds, and they're giving anyone who's age 18 and older $1,000 per year for 2 years, starting next month. If you're younger than 18, then you get $700 for 2 years. Let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments below. Do you think it's good that some Native American tribes like the Choctaw Nation is getting $2,000 in stimulus checks? Do you think it should be expanded to more people in America? Let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments below. Next, I'm going to answer the questions you leave for me in the comments. Hurricane Heather Evans. Will California folks on SSI be eligible for the money? Yes. So regardless of whether you're on SSI, veteran, RRB, SSDI, disability, you are eligible for the California stimulus checks based on income. They're just doing income. It doesn't matter what other social programs you're a part of. Next question comes from Jewel Gaspard. Why is the California stimulus only for people starting at $30,000? What about the people making less than $30,000? Great question. So in yesterday's video, I was talking about the California stimulus check. So this is actually round 2, which is for people making $30,000 to $75,000. Round 1 was for anybody making less than $30,000. So if you are in California and you made less than $30,000, you should have received and you are eligible for the $600 Golden State California stimulus check. Next question comes from Tammy Galloway. When will all these bills become into law? And Lori responds, never. This is what they want. Yeah, it seems that Congress is really good at proposing a bunch of bills that a lot of people like. For example, a fourth stimulus check. With all the bills proposed for the fourth stimulus check, the letters written, all the support, but yet it just doesn't get done. So in terms of your question, when will these bills become into law? When Congress actually votes on it, but I'm not sure if this is just like to tease the public or what, but it's been very frustrating covering all this, I'll have to admit. Sherry Lee Phillips. I live in Clayton County, Georgia, and every day I go on the website that you suggested, and it says every day it will be open soon. There's no way for anybody in Clayton County to apply. What can I do? Unfortunately, if there's no way to apply for it, there's nothing you could do. This is the point where you would contact the Clayton County, Georgia representatives and say, hey, you keep saying it's going to open soon, renters assistance, we want we want to apply for it. And if you get a bunch of people and contact your representatives, call their offices on a daily basis, annoy them. Hopefully this could get things in gear, because if the money is not spent by, I think it's October 1st, then, or 65% of it is not spent by October 1st, then they could use that money, the counties or government officials could use that for whatever they want, stimulus related. So hopefully they could get that money out soon. Anyways, that is all the stimulus news I have for you today. To hopefully brighten your day a bit, here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi, this is Bella's tip of the day. I want to tell the one thing that you should do. Like, before I was reading this book, I believed in myself. And I can believe in you too. So just focus on believing yourself and focus on making other people's personalities believe in them too. Bye.
Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support. It really means a lot to me when you watch these videos, especially up until this point. I put a lot of work into these videos, so for you to watch up until this point, I'm very thankful for that. Anyways, if you want to check out any of my other videos, you could click up here for my other two channels, Wise Sense and Wise Vibes, or down here for more stimulus updates. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.